Monday morning, woke up this morning and I was already thinking, what's in store for us this week, right? We're getting bombarded from all angles. And it's hard. I mean, all I could tell you is I personally, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm not going to look at my phone first thing when I wake up, and it's not going to be the last thing I look at when I go to bed. We have to somehow take time for ourselves. I even posted on Facebook earlier today. Somehow we have to get through these difficult times. I say that because it is Monday, and I've always been a big believer that if you had a bad week, Monday's a good day to reset and say, let's put that behind us and let's move forward. Or if you had a great week, then just continue the momentum. I always try to use Mondays to my advantage to that in that regard. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. Today I'm going to talk about something that coincidentally I started speaking with my wife yesterday. She had a story to tell me, then I read an article about it this morning. Now, my wife was dealing with she met with some tourists yesterday, very nice guys, and they came here to visit the national parks. National parks right now are a mess, and who knows what it's going to be like in a couple of months, but there's not enough staff. That only creates problems, right? Who's cleaning up the park? Bears go to parks, right? They go to the campground. Someone has to keep them away. Who's cleaning the bathroom? All these issues because they basically been all fired by Doge, right? That's what they're just taking. I can't say an axe because Elon Musk took a chainsaw, but that's what's going on right now, right? Everything is getting destroyed, really, by the federal government. And I keep saying that if you think somehow this isn't going to affect you, you're wrong. One way or another, you're going to feel the pinch. I did a couple days ago a video where I said Naples is the perfect example. Being from Florida, Naples has a big influx of Canadians that come in um, towards the end of the year and part of the spring, hang out in Naples, play golf. They take off 4 to 6 months. They're retired, etc. That is the norm. I've been seeing that my whole life in Miami. Now Naples. A lot of Canadians spend time in New York. You say, well, it doesn't affect me. It will affect you one way or another. That money gets circulated somehow. Whether you live in Naples or not, the person who does may not buy a product that someone else is selling on Amazon in their Amazon store because they don't have the money. So I don't care what anybody tells me. It's all intertwined. It's all connected. But I'm going to have some stats here for you. Well, first, let me talk about these tourists. They, like they told my wife, they said, you realize you guys are alone. Remember, they're from Italy. They're more aware of what's going on that side of the pond, right? And he says, "You guys are alone. That's it. We're looking at you. The whole world is looking at you guys differently." Now, they're here on vacation. National parks, not much to see what was going on, so their whole plan changed. But they were also terrified the whole moment that they're here. This is vacation. Why would you be terrified if you're on vacation? That's not the point of vacation. You're usually not terrified at your house and going to work. So why would you be terrified? Well, we've seen what's happened, right? That one Canadian actress was detained for 2 weeks. She's boycotting, saying don't visit the U.S. I know the numbers are down. I wrote it down here. What is it? 23%. New York is already feeling it. So there's like, I think 23% less searches from Canada visiting the US. That's all money that circulates through the US. And it's money that's going to affect us. To what point? Estimates are $64 billion. Now, let's go back to this issue with the tourists. My wife mentioned to them, and they said, no, we know. We've already been warned to do that by our own government, where they're being told, make sure you don't have anything on your cell phone that's anti-Trump. Because if ICE grabs that and realizes they're going to detain you, they're going to say you're some sort of a terrorist, etc. And we've seen that already happen too. Now, the legalities of ICE running around and grabbing cell phones and looking at text messages, that's a separate issue altogether. But I'm going to ask it to you this way. If you're afraid of going somewhere, are you actually going to go there and spend your hard earned money? Of course not. So we went what should have been an 8.8 increase in tourism to losing now 5%. That's 13%. That is, if you don't think that's a big number, especially since we're talking about billions, then give me 13% of your salary every 2 weeks now going forward, and let me know if you feel the pinch or not. And so this isolationism doesn't work. Nobody's going to do business with it. No one is going to travel to see. I'm from Miami. How is Miami going to get hit with this? With the tourism industry that we have down there with South Beach. All right. Not only people from Miami go to South Beach. I spend a lot of time there. Trust me. It's people from all over the world. The cruise ships, Orlando with Disney. You go to certain times of year at Disney, it is filled with tourists, not from the U.S., from other parts of the world, from other countries. And so this is all part of that chaos where I keep saying it's going to create political instability and ultimately creates financial instability. Now, that Doge wants to come in and trim some of the fat. No one has a problem with that. The problem is the way that they're doing it, and doing it by firing staff left and right, 200,000 probationary officers. I forgot now because it's hard to keep track, but I know some employees were now brought back. They filed their lawsuit and now they've got to be rehired again, but they were fired and rehired. And you have all this chaos. Besides that issue, that alone is destructive to the economy. You can't have a business that works properly and is constantly behind. If you have 10 employees doing a task and you bring it down to one, that one employee is going to fall behind. If a lawyer has way too many cases, he falls behind in your cases. And that's what we're seeing now at the level of the federal government. That is going to mess up things, whether it was Social Security, IRS. IRS, there's already groups that are, I don't want to use the word boycotting, but they're either going to submit taxes that are bullshit taxes, right? Or not file at all because they're saying, what are they going to do? They don't have enough staff to do anything, to catch anything. And so if you're going to get away with something, now's the time to do it. But that's what happens, right? That's what happens. While the cat's away, the mice will play. And those are the situations we're seeing, that we're now, these tourists were decided not to go to the national parks, realizing it might be a mess when you get there. And we're not coming back. And now that we're here, we're terrified of being here. Now they had their tickets, they couldn't get rid of it, they would have lost their money and everything else. But for tourists not to come to the US and spend their dollars, again, that would hurt you somehow. I don't care what part of the country you're from. Tourists come here, they fly, they go to the airport, they spend their money at car rentals, restaurants, hotels, inns, bed and breakfasts, you name it. They go cross country, and that's going to be $1 less that you see entering your community. When there's $1 less entering your community, how does that local government or state government make up for the losses? They have to either fire and trim their own fat or raise taxes. That's pretty much, those are the only two options that they have. That's why I said in a prior post with Florida. For Florida, all of a sudden to be pushing a law to put, the license plates on the front of the car. We've never had that before. Why is that such an issue today? That all of a sudden, because it's just another way to generate revenue. That's all it is. Florida realizes we're going to get hit. We're going to get hit with tourism dollars walking out the door, because why else would you come to Florida, right? The farmers are already losing money because Canada isn't buying oranges from Florida growers anymore. They're getting them from Mexico, I think. I forgot what country actually they get it from, but you see the problem that this creates. And again, it's all this chaos. Why am I going to go to the US and be terrified that ICE is going to grab my phone? What if I get detained for 2 weeks unnecessarily, even though I'm here legally? I've seen people crossing the border that have dual citizenship. They have to worry about which passport do I use when I cross the border, even though they're citizens. Now, even bigger issue is for golf fans, we have the Ryder Cup, right? Every 2 years we have the Ryder Cup. And now the question is, how much money are we going to lose in that? I love golf. It's how I love to spend my time. How much is that going to cost? Because again, people come from the other side of the pond just to watch the Ryder Cup. We got FIFA next year, and in 2026 we have the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. Those are billions and billions and billions of dollars lost. So all I can say is I don't know where we're going other than a recession, and that seems to be very clear. But you have to figure out, you personally, how it applies to your situation and adapt. Whatever, everybody's situation is different. If you live in Miami and you live off tourism dollars, you have to figure out how to supplement that income. You live in all these other, maybe a transportation hub like Atlanta, same thing. Less flights come in, less hours you might get at work. What's a side hustle? What are you going to do to make up for those losses? Because again, when you have tourists who are afraid to come to this country, they're just not going to come, and they're not going to bring their money with them. So I can't imagine businesses like Orlando and the ridiculous lawsuit of Ron DeSantis and Disney. It was grooming kids and all that. That is beyond, it was just beyond stupidity. That's why they got their ass handed to them in court endless amount of times. But ultimately, it all costs money. The only question is, how does it cost you money and how you can adapt? All right. So, any questions or comments, let me know. Times are going to be tough. Buckle up, get ready, because there seems no way. And again, I don't say just don't listen to me. I'm just one guy, right? With a cup of coffee. Look out there, do your research. What are the top economists saying? What are the different economists saying in different parts of the world? And then make your conclusion based on that, right? Based on common sense. Like I said, if we're cutting all these, just something as simple as the Department of Education, I did that post, I think, 2 days ago on Saturday morning. Department of Education provides up to 11% on average to school districts on a nationwide level. That means the school district that you're at might get, it could be more, it could be less, of course, depends on the district. Let's just say it's 11%. They just lost 11% revenue. Where are they going to make up that difference? Chances are, like I keep saying, trim the fat, firing, cut this, cut those benefits, and increase taxes. So even someone like me that doesn't have kids is probably going to get hit more on a state and local level just because of the Department of Education being closed. It's those little things that I keep saying, look around you and ask yourself, how is this going to affect me? Because it will. All right. Take care of yourselves. It's Monday. Started off a little doom and gloom, right? But there's still coffee to make us feel better. And then there's alcohol at night. So take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you guys at the next video.